Joe Feldman joins us now. He's senior analyst at Telsey Advisory Group. Joe, welcome to you. And let's just start with food inflation. What's the story?
Well, we're seeing food inflation has been relatively stable this year on a year-over-year basis, running for groceries around 1%. Food away from home, so like meaning at restaurants, is running a bit higher. It's more in the mid-single digit, 4 or 5%. So it is still better to eat at home and go to the grocery store to do that. But I think the pressure that the consumer feels is when you look at inflation on a 2, 3, even 4-year basis, when you stack those up, you're facing some pretty heavy price increases that haven't really gone away.
Eggs is one area where price increases have been sort of endemic, right?
Yeah, that's a great one where you do see it. It does tend to be volatile. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Last year it was down quite a bit. The year before that was up quite a bit. So there is some volatility in some of those core commodities. Those usually get passed through pretty quickly. The big issue is also just that I think the large CPG players out there are, having to price goods at a higher level, and that passes through to the consumer. The retailers like Walmart, Kroger, they're pushing back and trying to keep prices down for the consumer in the end. And I think they've been having some success as of late.
Why aren't those big players standing up and telling the country what they're doing? They tell Wall Street analysts that in sort of ways like, taking margin or donating margin. That's my favorite. But if they're doing this and pushing back and trying to lower prices, shouldn't they be standing up and saying like, hey, we're fighting for you? And instead they're getting attacked by all the politicians.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Well, and I think, the big retailers like a Walmart, Costco, Kroger, they're doing, and Target even, doing a really good job telling the consumer, hey, we are fighting for you. We're trying to lower prices. They just came through their earnings season in the past few weeks, and a lot of the discussion was about, starting to finally see some give back from the CPG companies where they're helping to fund some promotions and discounts to bring prices down even further. I think that the big CPG players that are creating the products and the big suppliers, they really see that they need to bring volumes up because price isn't going to happen anymore. I think prices are definitely on the way down or at least staying stable. So you really need to see that pushback and the help from the retailers. I mean, Walmart does it the best, and they really do bring the lowest prices. Every pricing study I've done, it's among the cheapest place to buy groceries.
So let's talk a little bit about price gouging. Do you see it in your work, or have the price increases that have taken place since 2021, 22, have they been more opportunistic than malevolent, I suppose?
Yeah, I think early days back in the start of the pandemic and for that first year or two, there was some supply issues and there was concern, and people were doing a lot of stock up trips and visits to the grocery store. So prices were elevated at that point. And then it just kind of continued. And it feels like, the suppliers maybe got a little bit too greedy. I think the grocers tend to just pass it on. They've been trying to keep prices stable. When we look at our pricing studies on a year-over-year basis for the past 2-3 years, you're only seeing kind of flat, maybe slightly down from the retail standpoint. So they've done a good job. They also leverage their loyalty programs, their fuel reward programs to help bring prices down for the consumer. That's another big advantage of shopping at some of the larger retailers.
Joe, we've asked this to others because many of the prices are now disinflating across these categories. How do you invest in disinflation? Which stocks? I noticed you lowered on some of the dollar names lately. What do you do?
Yeah, the dollar stores have been under a lot of pressure. It just feels like their core consumer, which is that really lower to lower middle income consumer, has been under a lot of pressure. They're visiting the stores pretty frequently. Actually, traffic's up at the dollar stores. They're just not spending as much. They don't have as much in their wallets. What you're seeing is that middle income consumer that in prior times of pressure would trade down to the dollar stores are not. They're staying at Walmart, they're staying at Kroger, Costco, Target, other places. And we like those big guys because even with grocery prices having stabilized and maybe we think maybe coming down a little bit over the next few months, that could mean more spending power for the discretionary side. Right. So Walmart, Target, Costco, they sell a lot of discretionary goods as well. So that's why I think that those big guys are still very well positioned for this environment.